we just had that Kickstarter for hashtag that literally ended at 12 o'clock today. So it's just been 30 days of craziness and advertising and speaking to everyone and anyone, and it's been quite the adventure because I've never done a Kickstarter before.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting, but very quite a tumultuous affair, really, because you're so attached to it and you're so just wanting it to succeed and knowing it's an amazing film and watching every day. And I had to pry myself away from the computer just so I could go to yoga and not look at the counter.
What do you think the whole the advent of really fan-based and community-based funding to be able to do projects of these natures these days?
Well, I feel like it's fantastic because to be honest with you, before hashtag the hashtag Kickstarter, I didn't realize that I'd kind of vaguely heard about Kickstarter, but I'd never actually related it to film and television projects. I thought it was more of a business type thing or an invention type of an idea, and then the guys from Runic Films said, I said, how are we going to pull this off? And they said, well, we're thinking about doing a Kickstarter. And I went, oh, I don't know. I feel nervous about that because, everyone's helped me so far to come to this point, and they've looked after me and fed me and travelled me around the world and kept me employed, that I feel kind of a little bit on the back foot for going, hey guys, by the way, can you give us a hand? But it was a really interesting journey because then I went to a convention. I think I was at the Rhode Island Comic-Con, and people were coming up, and I had the little flyer next to my next to my photos and stuff, and people were like, what's that? Is that a Kickstarter? We love Kickstarters, and the actual energy with the fans and Kickstarter is beyond awesome. Everyone is so happy to be a part of it and so excited to be, part of the crew and helping make this amazing film. And it really is that as well. So it was at that point that I went, oh, okay, you guys are into it. Let's do it, So it was a really big learning curve for me because it's exciting to actually meet people that, have looked after me and watched me ever since Farscape days and maybe even a bit before, and, are still extremely keen to now become part of this amazing crew to make hashtag. So it's been very exciting.
Yeah. So you were here, kind of to prep ahead of next weekend over at Geek-O-Nomicon, heading out there to Biloxi.
It's good old Biloxi.
And so this is great, a brand new event coming into town and having some great talent and headlining with yourself. How do you like coming over for, heading into, down south and stuff for conventions? No, actually, I'm in San Francisco. Hoping to be able to make it out, but if nothing else, I'll make it for next year. But I know the folks that are putting it on, and they asked me to help beat the drum, and I'm like, well, let's help hype up. And they're like, oh, we got Gigi, we got to have you talk to her. So.
Yeah, they know. If you know me, I'm a big talker and I love to chat and I love to help the conventions out because they've been a huge part of my life for many, many years now, and I absolutely adore them. I'm a massive fan of the fans. I constantly come up with comic books or music or short films or feature films or anything to give back to them because they've been so amazing along my journey. So I'm really looking forward to next weekend. Plus it's just going to be it's going to be a nice celebration before we head into the proper, everyone separates and goes to their family and hangs out with their family. So by the time I get to the Biloxi, I'm going to have completed all my fresh headshots for pilot season. My US show will be out with all new fresh scenes. So I'm just like on the tunnel vision. I was like, okay, let's do hashtag. Let's get my fresh show reel. Let's do the headshots, Biloxi, and relax.
Excellent.
So, but I'm sure there'll be a bit of relaxing going on at Biloxi as well because at conventions, you tend to bond with the fans and anything goes really, because I'm sure we all know.
Yeah, and it's also a great time to kind of let them know the other projects you've been working on so that they can kind of go, and help follow you along and help, promote those, especially, shows from down under over here that don't get as much, promotion like they should.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I'm, as I said before, pretty open and a bit of a talker, and I have done quite a few productions in Australia, but of course none of you guys have seen them because they're down under. And then I get to conventions and they're like, we haven't seen you on television for years. I'm like, well, move to Australia. But so there's a few projects so what happened, just a quick rundown, is after Farscape, I went straight on to work on a show called Secret Life of Us, because the main girl had left from that and they needed a replacement. So I cruised into that, which was really, really awesome, but it was very bizarre playing a human after I'd been playing an alien for like 5 years. And then after the Secret Life of Us, I played a homicide detective on a show called Stingers, which was really cool. And then I went overseas and my agent was saying, you're crazy, you've got a good reputation here, what are you thinking? And my family too was saying that. And of course, I have to do the opposite of what everyone tells me. So a bit of Chiana in me. So then I moved to the States, and for about before that was the Peacekeeper Wars. So we did the Peacekeeper Wars, which was amazing, and then moved to the States and did a couple of sci-fi features, which was great. And then the writer's strike was sort of buzzing around. So I thought, well, if there's some downtime, I may as well make the most of it. And so I got this cool crew together and we shot Nobody Knows, which is my first sort of co-directing piece and co-writing and co-producing and sort of being on the other side of the camera. So sure enough, because I'm so particular, I spent every last cent on Nobody Knows. Wow. And I turned around to my boyfriend at the time and I said, I got to go back to Australia. I've run out of money. I can't eat. I can't put petrol in my car. I got nothing. And he said, well, why would you ever do that when you still haven't found the perfect job? And that's the whole reason why you moved over here. Why don't you become part of my show? And at this stage, he was a street performer. He still is. And I said, that's ridiculous. I'm a professional actress. I would never be working on the streets. And sure enough, the next day, working on the streets with my roller skates and my fire twirling and all that kind of business. So for about a year or so, we travelled all around America and a little bit in Australia and performed and got a really tight, great a street performing show. He rides a 12-foot unicycle and juggles. And I did fire twirling and was the silly assistant on the side, so it was a bit of a comedy routine as well. And then I emailed a piece through to Australia for a show called Rescue Special Ops. So I ended up scoring that job. And then, so it was funny, like we were literally street performing for a year, had next to nothing. It was still an amazing year because it reminded us of what life's about. And then Rescue Special Ops happened, which was great because then literally within a heartbeat, we were, back on the red carpet and in a makeup chair and hanging off buildings and getting blown apart again. So it was nice to be back.
That must have been a fun time, though, spending that kind of year on the road and doing all the kind of the more down to earth and grassroots performing.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really good to remind. I know it's good for me because it's easy to get swept up in the whole bubble of the film and television business, and it's easy to get, certain jobs look after you extremely well, and and it's hard not to fall into the bubble of everything working around you seamlessly. So then when that all disappears within a heartbeat, you've got to go, oh, okay, how am I going to make money?
Yeah.
So it's good because it makes you humble, and I think street performing is good too because there's no wall. Your audience is right there, so you get the drunk guy abusing you, and you get the kids throwing stuff at you, and you just got to deal with it. So it's very character building, to put it politely.
Actually, I've seen a couple of episodes of Rescue, and that was a lot of fun. But what I want to get a hold of is Last Train to Frio, because I hear all the good things, and of course your nomination for performing in it. So that's actually what I want to get a hold of.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really cool film. It was a theatre production that they made into a feature film, and I just love films. I love films because there's a beginning and a middle and an end, and your artistic integrity can stay quite pure and true. Whereas with film and with television, long-running television shows, the scripts are just constantly changing. It's hard to keep an eye on where your character's going because obviously they're telling the bigger story, which is what you're there to do. But it's nice with films because you know that there's a very strong structure and you can really build a really strong character around that. So I'm very passionate about movie making.
Have you done had you been part of the original stage production?
No, I wasn't. And then it was funny because we went to Western Australia, which is actually where I was born, but I haven't spent a lot of time there. And I was preparing there's a really emotional scene in it, and I was preparing for it. And everyone went away to lunch, and I was just having a quiet moment. And I looked up, and I saw my uncle that had passed away many years ago, many, many, many years ago. And I was like, whew, goosebumps now. All my hair's standing up. And it was great because I work off these things, to try and get the really full-on emotions and stuff for the right moments for scenes. And at the end of the day, it was a pretty intense day, and I went home and I called my mum because she's always good just to shake me out of a crazy mood. And I said, I saw Uncle Philip. It was the weirdest thing. I was there preparing. I had my music in my ear, and she goes, "Where were you?" And I said, I was at this retirement home, but it's closed down now. It's in, it's Sunnyvale or whatever it's called in Perth. And she goes, your uncle was taken there for shock treatment because he was gay.
Oh, wow.
And he had he was gay, and he was an alcoholic from that because he couldn't deal with it. Mm-hmm. So he turned to the grog, and he went there to, try and get better. And they gave him all sorts of crazy treatment and everything. And he didn't die there or anything. He died in later years, but he was always a bit of a lost soul. And I went, oh, my goodness. Ah! So it's a pretty interesting film. If you see it when I'm losing my mind, there's the backstory behind it.
Yeah. There's always, unfortunately, because there's so many great both films and television series from Australia that I just wish they would get more play and exposure over here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? With all the modern technology today, you think like it was insane. Because when I came to shoot the Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge, and I went to put promos on Facebook to promote it, and none of the Aussies can see it, and my mum was really upset.
We were so excited when hearing about anything with Jim Henson is amazing to begin with.
Yeah, it's just I was so lucky to be invited to be part of the Henson family, and as I've said time and time again, I've grown up watching The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and that was my Bible. That was the way I existed with the fairies and the creatures and the dragons and the dinosaurs and the bits and the bobs. I've never really made much sense. So I grew up in this make-believe land, and then strangely enough, I ended up joining the family and many moons later, and it was crazy because she was literally a guestie for one episode, and that was all that I was told. I think they were still trying to find what they wanted out of the show, and obviously if a character works, then there's potential there. But I was so fresh. I was like 23 or 24 maybe. I didn't even know how it worked. I just knew that I loved the Hensons. I knew that I wanted to create a character that was a Henson character, because you look at all their creatures and the people that are involved with their productions, and they're all so complex and intricate and layered, and they're not just a sterile two-dimensional. They're so deep. So I was just like, all right, here we go. And then something happened, and they asked me to stick around, which is awesome. And then when they asked me to come back for the Creature Shop, that was really cool too, because I thought, oh my gosh, does that mean we're getting a Farscape movie?
That's what everyone keeps hoping. I mean, I've heard a number of people talking about wanting to do Kickstarters as well, about doing, to continue the Farscape story.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm game. I was on the Jim Henson, the side of the Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge. Brian held up a script, and he said, it wasn't a script, it was in a yellow envelope, and he said, guess what this is? And I went, what? And he goes, it's the Farscape movie. And I went, oh, are you kidding me? And before crash tackling him, he said, no, it's not time yet. It's not finished. I was like, oh my goodness, hurry up.
But it's there.
We're getting so old.
you guys created something that very much is in the pantheon of just kind of required science fiction viewing, really, because you guys have that spot between Babylon 5 and Galactica. You guys are that bridge point of a long arc story, character driven, occasionally episodic, but it's kind of putting together the modern dramatic science fiction story writing in that series, and you guys took it in all kinds of amazing places.
Yeah, I thought that it was an amazing show because I always, I never really got into sci-fi. My sisters were; they're a bit older than me. I was more, Dark Crystal and Never Ending Story, and more in that frame of mind. So when I bumped into Farscape, it didn't to me seem like a sci-fi. It seemed like a really well written, screwed up family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like we were just like
totally.
one crazy family, and you had the Leviathan, and you had the Nabari, and you had the Sebastian, and it was so good because it played with issues that we have on Earth, but because you're in outer space, it gives you license to really explore those issues for some reason, and it seemed very well written. The characters, it was character driven. They trusted us with our characters as well when they saw that I was never told to move like a freak. That was all, came from something that I made up, and they're like, great, and then, Ben would throw in just ridiculous human lines left, right, and center, and they're like, great, because they trusted us with our characters, and I think that came through. We really tested each other's boundaries. I think you see as it goes along, it gets more and more organic and more raw because we become closer and closer.
Right. And as you know your characters, you have an idea of what their situations are going to be like, and it's a very organic flow. You have different series that you feel that bonding between the cast as time goes on, and it just made it more fun. I've seen a lot of people talk and write about seeing you guys on panels ever since at conventions, and they just love watching the interaction between all of you.
We're very down to earth. I think one of the things that I appreciate is that when the life of it, for me personally, of the actress is very up and down and inside out and back to front. And when you've got a job, it's the biggest blessing in the whole wide world to have the responsibility to tell an amazing story that's come from someone's imaginings, and people were there waiting on each word and, tuning in and taking time out of their busy lives to escape with us through the uncharted territories, or through an amazing cop and robber drama, or through a beautiful comedic piece or anything. So it's such a blessing when you do actually get a job. And the very cool thing as well about now, I've always shied away from committing to stuff that I don't want to do. Like there was a couple of series in Australia that had offers on the table that were more soapy and weren't things that I was really excited by. So I sort of said thank you very much, but no, I appreciate the offer, but I really want to tell stories that are amazing and that are strong and that we can learn from. And you turn on the television nowadays and there's so much nonsense.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing? There's 800 channels of nonsense. It would be better even if we just had 5 channels of amazingness, So that's very hashtag is a really interesting moment in my life as well, this new film that we're working on, because not only is it the whole reason why I moved back to America was because I believed that Jim Henson Creature Shop Challenge was going to go again, and they never promised anything. It just seemed very positive, and the ratings were really good, and the word on the street and from people that kind of get the vibe, I went, this is a done deal. So I convinced my husband and my dog MacGyver and my cat Louie, that's 18 years old, we didn't know whether he'd make a flight, to come on over to good old LA and give it one more try. And Jamie is from Minnesota, and he's the American, and he's like, I like Australia too much. I don't want to go back. So I dragged all the boys kicking and screaming, and then sure enough we landed here, and within a couple of months that we got the word that it wasn't happening. So hashtag is making a very, very positive choice out of a very tricky situation, and also taking control over the story that we're telling, and that we want to not commit to the I'm trying to put it politely, the 100 or so channels of nonsense on television.
Yeah.
We want to step it up and tell stories from our heart and soul. And it's such an honor to be actually sharing that experience with people, with the fans and with friends and family that have believed in us all enough to make this happen. It really is, honestly, today, I'm not mucking around, I almost said the best day of my life, but my husband would kill me because that should be my wedding, and it was my wedding. But today, when the hashtag thing was, the Kickstarter completed, I just went, dreams do come true. Because right at the beginning, I said to my hubby, I don't know, like, is this possible? I've never gone through this. I said, you know what, if this happens, it will mean, it will be like a sign from God, Zen, Buddha, the universe, spirit, whatever's out there, that dreams seriously do come true. So today is there's the Twitter going off. Today is the creation of all this hard work and the love and the enthusiasm of us all combining together. And now I'm going to bawl.
No, but I'm looking at it. It's like you guys cleared your goal was 40,000. You came out just shy of 45,000. And
cool?
And what's amazing is I'm looking at this on 284 backers. So it's like $155 a person on average. That's really good for a Kickstarter and stuff. That's a really impressive feat. And now you guys go boldly forward. Do you guys have an idea when the intent is for premiere?
We're going to shoot in January, February. We've got all the set design. We've got the costume girl waiting. We've got the carpenters waiting. We've got the visual effects boys. Everyone's been waiting and going, please, 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 let this happen, let this happen. So we're all ready to go. Like as soon as I got the word, I literally went into yoga today. It's so easy to get swept up in the craziness of it all. So I went in and I did a back-to-back 2.5 hours of hot yoga so I could not think about it and just put out my affirmations and put out my gratitude to these amazing people that have helped us so much, and all the people that have also worked behind the scenes. Ben Alpi and Jodika Varami have worked so hard in making this happen from Runic Films as well. So we really have been combining a lot of hours and a lot of time and energy to make this dream come true. So I came out and it was literally like 5 minutes to go. And I was like, okay, let's see. And then it was looking pretty healthy, which was great. And then as soon as it happened, I refreshed my phone and it said funded. And I was like, wow.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
So do you have an idea when you're hoping to premiere?
Haven't got that far yet. I literally went, after saw that, I did a little tweet to thank everyone, pulled the car over, did a little tweet, and then I called up Ben from Runic Films and went, we did it! We survived!
That's awesome.
Well, now that the Kickstarter's over, which is great, we can actually focus back on the main aim, which is making it out of this world phenomenal film. And it truly is that. The script's so good. It's so awesome to actually read a script and you can't put it down, because it's so very rare that happens. And the character is beautiful. She is extremely complex, and she thinks that she's got everything perfectly sussed out in her make-believe world of social media and her online presence. And I think it's a really relevant story, because all of us, including me, are quite addicted to the computer or the Facebook or the Twitter or the online dating, the online buying, the online... So I think it's a perfect story to be telling at this time. And she's a very, very beautiful character to play, because she definitely has a restless soul that needs to be seen to.
Awesome. And actually, we'll have to reach out to Ben as well and see about helping beat the drum on hashtag as you guys progress along through production, and when it comes time for everyone to go check it out.
Oh, that would be amazing. And we want to, keep putting great things out to everyone that's helped us, and anyone else who wants to keep an eye on our adventures. We've got I keep an update on my website, which is gigiedgley.com. It's got my Facebook and Twitter links there and everything. And Runic Films is also the company that's producing it as well. So you can check them out at runicfilms.com. And yeah, I think it's going to be 100% one of the biggest highlights of my entire life. So, and that's purely because of you guys.
Thank you so much. And for everybody who wants to see more of Gigi, next weekend at Geek-O-Nomicon in Biloxi from December 12th to 14th. Come on, it's a great way to kick things off before you get into the holidays for us.
Hang on, I got someone that wants to say hi.
Oh, who we got?
Come on.
Catch a puppy?
Come on. Hang on, let me see. He gets a little nervous with crowds. Yeah. Come on. You want to go for a walk?
Oh, you're invoking a walk.
Blackmailing you.
Yeah.
Come on. You go.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Oh. That's all you get. Come on. You want to go for a walk? Yeah, you want to go for a walk? Oh, okay.
Oh, puppy. Good old boy.
Oh,
Hi.
boy. He's been my therapist through the whole of the Kickstarter. He's been big, long walks and lots of hikes and lots of cuddles and treats for Mum and MacGyver.
You know, in the end, there's nothing so awesome as being licked by a puppy.
Yes, we call him MacGyver because my husband is absolutely obsessed with the show MacGyver, and it was either going to be baby's name if we ever had a baby or a dog's name, and I went, we're getting a dog.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And for everyone in Biloxi, have an awesome time, and we look forward to following up on hashtag very soon.
Come see us at Biloxi, and we told you guys it was at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center, and you can also check them out at www.whynotgeek.com.
Got it. And